Alien disclosure, 10 years ago, I feel like this would have been something that a lot of people would have laughed at or dismissed or not talked about. And yet here we are. We have people in Congress, we have pastors, we have most of the American public, the majority of the American public believing in UFOs and aliens at this point. Now, there has been a lot of buzz over the last couple of days about a meeting that reportedly happened earlier this year.
Yeah.
And a number of pastors were brought together, and you were one of the people who were in this meeting. Can you talk about, before we get into anything else, how did you find out about the meeting and how were you invited?
Well, a number of us, Billy, first of all, great to be with you. Love your show. A number of us are podcasters, and I do a daily live broadcast. And a lot of these individuals have been watching me and a number of my friends. And so they invited us and a number of pastors to, I'll just say it this way, kind of a secret location in Tennessee. And it was really just a rental house that they brought a bunch of people to and began to give disclosure to what was happening. So they reached out because of our platforms, and they wanted to get the word out. They said they felt like we were legit, other people were legit in the circle, and they wanted to connect with us. And they'd watched us for some time and felt like we were coming to the right conclusions on many of these issues. And so they brought us in, and I'll tell you, at first, a lot of the things they disclosed to us were things we'd already heard or come to the same conclusions on. But they really did reveal some things that I thought, this is important. This needs to be said to churches and pastors and leaders, not because it's so earth-shattering for people that know the Lord, that know where they are in Jesus, but for the average believer that's not really sure. They're not grounded in the Bible the way they should be. What they're talking about, I think, really could be earth-shattering for a lot of people. I really do, Billy.
So I want to get into some of the specifics of that. Just to clarify, the people who called the meeting, who were they? How high up? Was it a government meeting? Were there government officials there? Talk a little bit about that, because that was one of the big questions, like who called this meeting and who,
right.
You don't have to give names, but who were these people essentially?
Well, they were special forces operators, and they were moving in higher levels in the military. They were moving in higher levels in some of these arenas, and they had very high level clearance. They worked in different parts of military, and they were also involved in wars, different things. And so they had a lot of data that they could bring, and they were very close to a number of the key individuals that report directly to the highest office. And they would advise, they would get data and information, and they themselves had a lot of firsthand encounters with entities and beings. And so even to the point, and I don't mind saying this, but even to the point that they were showing us on their phones things that they had personally photographed. And these guys, when they were talking to us, they were not looking for anything. They weren't trying to gain anything from this. They were actually very emotional and very concerned for the state of the church, very concerned for where things are going, because the ultimate thing they're pushing, Billy, is an agenda of enlightenment. This is what they're trying to get ahead of, is that many people in these spheres are saying the Christians are going to be in the way of this enlightenment by these beings that want to come down, these benevolent beings that are going to appear, whether they're orbs, UFOs, different types of manifestations, however they appear, they're going to come and bring enlightenment. And the narrative is going to be, and this is from their data, what they were disclosing to us, the narrative is going to be, well, the Bible is good, it's true, it's close, but we have the final answer. You were seated here by beings. God is not the God you think. It is something much greater from the universe and interdimensional. And they went down this road, and I started to realize this is not something new to us, but then they began to lay out the data for it and show us where it was going. So not only did we see with our eyes images, which, how many images can you trust today? But it was on their phone. They showed it to us, of entities they'd encountered, their stories, and then people that are directly involved in this and what their agenda really is. And the agenda is ultimately to get us to a state of enlightenment, to push Christianity to the side and say there's a greater knowledge that we need to get humanity to. That's the real agenda.